Good afternoon, how is everybody? Okay, I hope. It's a little bit nippy here and dark, but yeah, everything's good other than that. We're with friends and we've got another hour of tangling, so, well, hopefully an hour, might be a little less, it depends on how we get on. So yeah, tile 197, here we go. Now I did toy with using a darker tile for this. I have done that as my sample, and I thought, well, okay, then I've done it that way, so I'll use a cream tile to sort of do the demonstration with, so you can then see both ways of doing it. And I did sort of mention a little bit earlier that I'm going to use a ring here. You can sketch one, it's not a problem, it just gives me a little bit of a head start so I can get a frame going on. Of course, you can use a round tile, or you can draw around something round or sketch it. Really doesn't matter, and you're not going to completely see the whole thing when it's done anyway. So, you know, it's just a guide. So here we go then. I'm just going to sort of level it up so it's about in the centre, and just very lightly I'm going to just come around with the pencil. Now, it's probably better that I use a cream tile rather than a darker one for this, because you'll be able to see the guidelines that I'm using. So there we go. Okay, let's go a little bit bigger now, you can see where I'm at. What else do I have with me today? I've got my regular pen, of course, my pencil, my tortillon, and I've actually got some gel pens with me today. I've got there we go, look, hold on. Yeah, you can see it there. I've got a red, a sort of a green, and a gold colour. I'm just having a bit of a mix of whatever I've got at hand. Really doesn't matter, and you can just completely shade this if you want to, so not a problem at all. Just let's go for it. All right, whatever you've got in your house or at the side of your desk, doesn't matter. Oh, good morning from New York. Hello there. What's it like over there? Because we usually get that weather after you, so perhaps you shouldn't tell us. So, okay, are we ready then? Doesn't matter where we start, it really doesn't. So if you want to go the opposite way to me, it's fantastic, you can do that. So let's have a look. I'm going to start sort of about here. Let's go a bit larger so you can see what I'm doing. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to come round, see? So I'm off the grid there a bit, and then back down. Okay. Oh, Joanne, haven't you? They're in with all the essential stencils. There's a few of them together. See, I'm coming up now and back over to join there. All right. I think I'm going to just sort of add an extra line there. And an extra line there. Okay, you see now why we've used pencil for the ring. We just want to do that. I'm going to do the same again. I'm going to turn it around slightly. I'm going to put another one in, starting with that shape. Oh, raining on the Isle of Man. It's not sure here whether it wants to rain or not. It's just that kind of day, really. But it's okay. It could be worse. We could be at the old unit. Now it would have been cold there today. Okay, the same here. And around, down. Oh, you see there, I've sort of missed a little bit of the pencil work. I'm just going to put that back in. There we go. All right. And again, bring it round, down. Same on this side, it's a little bit narrower. And same on this side. And again. You might want to sort of see where see I've got 2 or 3 there. Doesn't matter how many you put in, it's entirely up to you. But, it's sort of, you know, gauge it as to what you think. If you want to put lots in, that's fine. If you want a few less, it's not a problem. See here, I think I'm just going to put one. Yeah, I'm just going to put one here. So I've got 5 in total. That's it. There we go. So over and back round. And then let's do one this side. And one this side. There we go. Nice so far. So let's have a look again. I'm going to go a bit larger. I'm going to work to one side of these little shapes now. I'm going to come in with a bit of a bubble there. And then just going to aura it inside. There we go. And then I think actually I'm just going to do another one inside there as well. Remember that one? We did this for the tile swap, which I haven't posted whose tile I got yet. I do apologise. I will get that done before the end of the day. Let's have one down. That looks like goggly eyes, doesn't it? Let's have one maybe here. Okay, so now it looks like Mickey Mouse. That's okay. It'll be fine. Alright. So let's put this one in. I'm going to do so. Now I'm not going to worry about sizing and trying to get them in the same sort of order. I'm just going to sort of add in 3 bubbles. And then a little bit of an aura on the inside with that little dot as a highlight. And then again, see that looks like a funny sort of eyes and nose, doesn't it? Oh yeah. Alright, next one. So you notice that I'm starting in a different place each time, so I'm purposefully not having them the same. Well, that definitely is Mickey Mouse. There we go. One in there. Little dot. One here. And then one there. Right, let's have a look at that. See? And another. Now again, if you want to add more of these, you can, but there's lots more things sort of going on here, so it'll be interesting to see how it grows. Now I was watching a lady actually create a wreath the other day, or last week, maybe the week before, and she always said every time you do this and you're making one with foliage, you'd always start with your sort of cheapest things first, like your leaves and stuff, and work your way up bank. And I thought, when we're tangling, it's sort of the opposite way, because this is where we're putting the most expensive things in first, which is obviously our berries. But and then we work our way back towards the sort of extra little bits on the end. So it was quite an interesting sort of way of looking at things, I think, as to how that sort of worked. But here we go. I'm going to bring in some holly, but just before we do that, I'm just going to turn over and just show you again how to do it. I only do this because I know sometimes it can be a little bit tricky. So here we go. I'm going to start from here. I'm going to create a curve and create the letter M. You see the letter M. And then if I turn it round, I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to come up with that curve first, and then I'm going to create that letter M. There we go. So a little line up the middle. All right, I just wanted to take a bit of time over that, because I think sometimes I draw it a little bit quickly. And you think, what has she done? So look, there's the curve, and there's that letter M. And then, of course, if I was to turn it round, there's the curve to start with, and there's that letter M. You see? Okay. This is a little bit larger, perhaps, than I normally draw. Of course, if you're confident enough, then you could do that letter M almost backwards that way, and you get the same effect. There we go. And let's do another one here. See that letter M each time creates the two sides. All right. Let's go to the next one. And same again, that's sort of going underneath that ribbon. You see that it's gone a little bit far over, but that's okay. I could still join it. Because of course not all holly leaves are exactly the same shape. I mean, we could actually put curls on the end if you want to, but I'm just going to leave it for now. So there we go, there's that M. One side, then the other. See? Let's have one here. And join it together. Let's do this one. So, you know, holly can come from wherever you want. It doesn't have to sort of have the berries in the centre. You can just make your way around it. It's nice to have that bit of a change because of course it's not going to be completely the same all the way around. So I'm going to do one coming out here. So there's that M again. It's a little bit wider this time. Well, again, that's fine. There we go. You notice I'm still working on the same side as those berries. I've not gone on to the other side yet. But, there we go. Add into there. Oh, not forgetting those little lines. Sort of one here. And again, I'm not letting myself be restricted by the circle shapes. There we are. And let's do this one. In we go. One there. Letter M that side. I might put two sort of up here this time. Okay, so these are not too small because of course we want to fill up around this little ring. Let's have a look at where we're at to start with. There you go. So we've got our sort of ribbon going all the way around. We've got our holly. Now I'm not going to actually add a bow in there. I'm just going to keep the ribbon as that. It's just leaving it. Don't want to get too traditional in that sense. So here we go. I'm going to just have a look now at the other side. So there's all my holly. I've got the other side, the ribbon. And I think before I do that, I'm just going to come in and add in some little lines. Just up the sides of the ribbon there. This is what makes a difference, isn't it, between normal ribbon and posh ribbon. Means you get a little bit of design going on in there. Okay, I'll do that all the way around, but I'm going to work on that as I go, I think. So, okay. So working on this then, I'm going to come in and I'm going to create a curl and then bring it back. I know you love these. So let's do another bit bigger. Again, I'm not going to worry about that ring. That's just there as a guide. See? Let's put a few more in. See how they sort of cross over and work their way around. So I'm going to have another one coming off here. They don't all have to come out from under that ribbon. Let's have one here. There you go. Notice how I sort of stop after I've done the curl. Almost going back on itself and stop. And then back down. Okay. I know, Jackie, sometimes these can be a little bit tricky. I wonder if it'd be worth trying to do it down bank. So it's almost like you're going into a swirl, you see? So you get into all the way around to about 6 o'clock there. And then take it back to the point. It just gets thinner there. There needs to be that gap. So I know they're a little bit tricky, but I think the more we do them, the better we get, because the more practice. So you see here, I'm now working, bringing down bank rather than up. It's whatever works. Then back along. Okay. Yeah, absolutely, Jackie. That could be the way. Or maybe, I don't know, let's just try the pencil first. Come in and do the whole circle. So it's like a number 9. Excuse me. And then if I just sort of take that tail down with a pen, you see, and then bring it round. You know, it just means, you know, just for a little while. I mean, maybe I haven't gone quite all the way up there, but that's okay. But there's ways of trying it. Maybe try that, see if that works. Or try it from, you know, different sides, drawing it upside down and that kind of thing. There we go. Well, I think I'm going to have one coming out here. There we go. Just sort of going underneath that ribbon there. I think sometimes people don't take it far enough. You know, it's do it a little bit too much, and then you end up with a fatter sort of tail end. You've got to go round for quite a way, you see, and then bring it back. So sometimes that can be a little bit too wide. See, it's going under that holly there. And so bring that. Oh, I did say I was going to put those lines in as I was going, and I haven't. That's okay, I can do it now. There we go. That's now turning it into expensive ribbon. You know, the kind with the wire in that comes in wide widths. There we are. And of course you don't have to do that. You can have little bobbles on it if you want, or little swirls just to sort of like lace it up a little bit. There we go. And same on this side. Alright. There we are. Ooh, making sure I get those lines in. So, okay, I think, yeah, a few more of those around here. There we are. Let's have a look at it. I noticed they're a little bit sneaky, aren't they? Sometimes you think you've got it and then you sort of go with the flow and you're like, no, it's doing it again. Oh, hello, Rose. Did I sort of see Lisa kick in as well at some point? Hi, Lisa. I know, I'm sorry, I can't always speak to everybody because obviously my head's focused on what I'm doing. And if I read all the messages whilst I was doing it, I think I'd get a little bit lost. There we are. So I better focus on what I'm doing. Okay, see, it's filling up already, isn't it? There we are. Let's get one in here. And maybe sort of one in here. Oh, Chris, that's funny. I know, but at least you can you can watch this again, and you can, rewind and mute me if you want to. Mine's live, and it is what it is. So if I do something that's not exactly how how I sort of planned it, I just go with it, which is fine. But sometimes it would be nice to stop and think, wouldn't it, and hold it at arm's length and see what I'm doing. But it's just nice that you've all got faith in me. But I'll make it work, whatever. There you go. See, there's those little lights. Okay. Right, next one. Oh, that's lovely. Everybody's got their tile swaps. They all did go out at the same time. I do apologise if any get lost. Once it's in the post box, it's sort of out of our hands. And we post them in the same box, and no posts getting out. So it's sad, isn't it? And of course, if you've got one, please just, certainly this one, with it being Christmas, even if you just post a picture and just sort of say, oh, I've got it. Because I know some of you worry about it actually arriving. And I know it's because you've spent a lot of time, there's hard work gone into it. So if you can, at all possible, even if you email the person just to say, look, I got it, thank you. It would mean the world to people because, you know, say they do spend a lot of time and effort. Oh, Chris. Okay. So there we go. We've got a few different bits and pieces. Now, you see the fact we've still got gaps. That's absolutely fine. It just means that if you want to, you can fill it up. So you could add more of these, but you don't have to. We're not after completely filling the whole thing, but there's a good start, isn't it? All right, so just going to come in now and let's bring in a bit of a line here. I'm just going to go a bit bigger. And then if I just bring in a little bit of a little droplet. Now, of course, you could, if you wanted to, do the holly on these two. So instead of doing these little droplet shapes, you could do miniature versions of these little M's and then join it. You could do a mixture of the two if you want to. So another one, see, coming out sort of here. So this is the foliage that we're just sort of filling in the background areas. I say, if you were making a wreath, I'm sure that these would be the bits and pieces that you would put in first, and then everything else sort of sits around it. So it's quite interesting to see how that happened. There we go. Let's have one here. See, they can be different sizes. They don't all have to be sticking out. They could be just a little bit on the inside. See here? I'm going to go underneath. Of course, because we're filling in these little shapes, we could have gone over that holly. I'll say this is what you'd put in a wreath first. So, there we are. Right into there. So, maybe one here. So I do have some show dates. I know somebody, I think was it Joe asked, and very nicely somebody mentioned the 17th. I am on the 17th. It's a pick of the day. So don't go buying before because of course the price drops. So just so you're aware of that, the day. And then I have, I think I have a bit of a sales show on the 23rd. I'm going to go over there. So something that I'm not going to bring much. I'm not going to bring anything new back for that one, but you might pick up a few little bargains on there. And then I'm on the 1st of January. So it's become a bit of a tradition now because I know Justin and Gordon tend to do the 1st of January too. So that's usually the only time I see them. I used to see them quite a lot because I used to, go and do shows when they did their shows. So maybe next year they'll be back. So it'd be nice to sort of say hello again to them. Obviously from across the room. So yeah, don't mind. I don't exactly go out New Year's Eve and things like that. So I thought that would be okay. Let me just show you how that's looking now. It's a really nice little motif all on its own, isn't it? Yeah, I like that. So again, let's just bring out some more of these little shapes. There we go. Of course, they can sit underneath there. You don't have to do the whole thing. Let's bring in another there. And just sort of working my way. See, that's got a little bit there. I'm trying to work out now when things stop and start. I like that though. It really makes you look at what you've actually drawn. And you have to focus on where things are going. So another one there. see I'm just sort of working it round, turning my tile as I go. Yeah. Just having a look at where these extra little bits and pieces so can sneak in. Let's have one there. Of course, you know, you can do these in a different colour if you want to. You could even put little bubbles on the end if you wanted as well, just sort of reminiscent of, you know, maybe a few bits of mistletoe and or little berries and things. But keeping it all the same for now. There we go, so you're just going to see little bits inside there, maybe one there. Lovely little tangle that, it sort of works everywhere, doesn't it? Let's have one here. Alright. And of course I'm going to bring one up and into there. It's nice to see something build, isn't it? We started with a simple ring and then you add one bit and then the next, and it just builds and builds until you can hardly see that first little construction line. And that's the great thing about these, is it's not going to stay the same. You're going to be completely different every time you draw this. Oh, that's great. I know, some of us manage to keep up, but I know I do tangle pretty quick. But I say I do try and keep it within the time frame, because I don't want to be spending 2 or 3 hours on here, which is quite easily done. We'll just keep it short and sweet-ish. And then go from there. And then of course you can rewind back if you need to sort of check on something. Yeah, I think, well, sometimes just having a go about keeping up means you have to rush a little bit, but it means you don't think so much. That's the idea. Okay, so there we go. There's a little bit more in there. Obviously, it wouldn't be without a few zingers. Okay, if you've never done a zinger before, where have you been? A little line with a dot. We'll do one now. And then we aura the dot. But each time it gets smaller and smaller. You see? Until we end up with just dots. Let's have one on the inside here. Look. They can be as large or as small as you want. Let's bring one in over there. Large or as small as you want, remember, and let's just take that one inside. And of course you could always have a little stem if you want to. There we go. Oh, Leslie's got the sneezies today. She's caught it off Dobby, don't know what they were doing. Well, you don't really want to be seeing her on camera, trust me.
No, definitely not.
She's got 2 pieces of tissue, one snuffed up each nostril. And a mask. And she just very sort of gave me a hand gesture to say thank you for telling everybody that. Thank you for my cup of tea, Leslie. Oh dear. There we go, my little stem there. Look, I'm going to fill that one in. Hey, we can't pick on her. She's packed all your parcels. I'm working on something new for New Year's Day, so Leslie's doing all the packing. Here we are. See, just sort of, I'm going to put 2 in there. There we are. And there's a few more. Sometimes you have to just look at your tile just to see, have you got enough in? Is it balanced? Do you want it to be? Let's have a little look. There we are. It is only a cold. She's got. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, now you see everything else is pretty much sort of filled, but we do have these extra little bits here. So I think perhaps it would be wise to come in and just maybe add in Just a few more of these. Just to, not to fill it up entirely, but just to sort of give it a little bit of balance there. There you go. I'm just going to put one in. And then of course where I've got these little gaps, we can just sort of add a few random, so I use the word random, bubbles. Just to sort of make it look as though we want to extend it in some places. There you are. A few here, nothing much. There we go, so I might get a couple in there. Okay. Alright. I'm going to just come in with that ring again if I need to. Do I need to? No, maybe not. You might want to just sort of, you know, go over back in pencil just to be sure, but I'm now going to put that ring back in if I can see any gaps. You see, I'm just working my way around. Let's go a bit bigger. Okay. You see, you're not going to go there because that's inside that ribbon, but here it isn't. No. So you just got to focus a little bit and just have a good look at where those lines are. Of course, if you need to rub out that line, you're going to notice any bits that you've missed. And let's do the same around the outer edge. See, just sort of try and do it in one line if you can. So like here, for example, look, one to the next. There we go. See a bit there, look. Just go into there. Following it round. Right. Just making sure that you're not drawing inside any of those little shapes. See how I nearly went the holly? You go through those, of course. There we go. And I think that's probably is about it. Let's have a look at that. There we go. Quite a lot going on, or it seems so. But we're going to sort of remedy that because we're going to add in a little bit of detail now with some shading. So whether you want to come in straight with colour or whether you want to use a little bit of both. So I do have some gel pens with me, which I'm going to use. But I think first it's going to be pencil, just to sort of get me going with this so we know where we are. Now, I think what I am going to do is my ribbon, on my sample I've used a gold pen, but I think I want to put a bit of shading in there just to make sure that I'm getting that three-dimensional feel. You see I've done it both sides there. And then same here, there. And then this one and this one. And it might be that I decide that I want to use a bit of gold pen or something, but I think for now I'm going to do this. I think I'll shade as I'm going as well. Let's just sort of soften it up just towards the centre. Same there. Okay. And then same on this one. You notice that I'm leaving a gap in the middle because I want that sort of highlight in there. There we go. Same round. Just working it around, just making sure that it's darker there than it is towards the centre. Got a little bit of pencil there, it's a bit stubborn. There we are. Same with this one. There we go. And this one. Okay. Oh, thank you, Anna. It's sadly it's not appearing on here though, so that's okay. I'll just do my thing, go with it. There we go. So I'm just going to have a look now. These little curly shapes we did, I'm just going to add a little bit of highlight onto those too. Not the berries or the holly, just these little curvy shapes. See? Just doing it a couple of times because it's a little bit softer doing it like that than just putting one line in. There we go. There you are. You don't want to sort of get it too heavy because they shade pretty well, these. There we are. Okay. Back in with the tortillon. Just gonna follow the curve and just give it a little bit of softness. Don't want to cover the whole thing. Again, just nice light pressure. You know, don't overdo it there. Just little bits. Okay. Now, if you still haven't done your Christmas cards and your neighbour needs one, this is ideal. You can send this, couldn't you? And you could put your door number or their door number in the middle. That'd look quite nice. There we are. Same here. Oh, yeah, got enough there for that one. There we go. Just little bits. All right. Let's stick with pencil just for a minute. And any of my original sort of circle shape I can see, I'm just going to add a little bit of pencil. See, just sort of around the edges there. Same on the inside. Okay, just sort of in and around if I can. If you think, you know, you might see a bit there. And little bits. There, look, definitely there. Touch there. Around that one. Maybe a little bit there. Just sort of little bits as you work your way around. If you're not careful, your holly blurs into your background and all sorts of things, but we're going to remedy that in a moment. So, you see, just soften that up, just sort of working it in to the shape there. Okay, just taking my time. Oh, notice there, look what I've not done. Let's just put those lines in. Okay. All one side, then the other. Alright. A bit there. This is where you've got to turn your tile as you go in and follow it round, because there's so many things now going on in there that you'll lose your way if you don't. And of course, that anticipation of adding some colour, but take your time, do this bit right first and we'll get to that. Okay. Of course, you could use coloured pencils, but I thought that it'd be nice to use a little bit of gel pen just for now. Just to sort of give it a little bit of sparkle as well, maybe. There we go. So just little bits. Are we done? I think we're about done with that. Okay, so let's bring in. I'm going to bring in the green. Let's go a little bit larger. There we go. Oh, that's a second. Let's just drag my cup of tea closer to. Here we are. So I'm going to just work my way around these holly leaves. Now with a gel pen, as you know, you've got to keep it moving, because otherwise it's just going to start causing problems. We don't want that. And remember that, look at that, hang on. It's not, that one's not a shiny one, but it is a green. Just remember that it's going to take a little bit longer to dry, so you don't want to be putting your hand in it. than smudging it everywhere. Okay. So that's that one. They're going to start coming out of the wreath now, aren't they? You're going to start seeing them a little bit more, I reckon. There we go.
Okay.
Yes. There's my first three. So I'm going to make it down this way because, as I say, I don't want to get my hands and smudge it in any way. Just gonna get, and again, of course, if you want to use the watercolours, there's metallic watercolours would look absolutely lovely, I think. Maybe I should have brought them with me today and used them. That's okay. You could always do another one, use those. Well, of course, you could ink your tile up first, couldn't you? You could have used red and green ink for the background. That'd look quite nice. And then your grey shading with your pencil over the top. But so many ways to try something out and do something different. See, I am actually going around that centre vein or that line I drew. I'm keeping that in. And there are some little bits of white still showing, and I don't mind that. I think that just sort of adds to the design a little bit. There we are. Now I know that there are 3 holly leaves with each section, so you know if you've only done 2, you know there's one hiding in there somewhere. There we are. And again, same thing. And just fill it in. I say I am keeping my pen moving. I'm trying to fill in all the areas. You don't really want to go back in with a gel pen. Once you've done it, you want to be able to move on. Because it doesn't always like you going back over. It tends to leave streaks. You don't want that. Alright. So again, just leaving that line in the middle. Okay. Got this one here. Get it on. There we go. Just sort of working down the line there. And there. Not too far around now. Almost done with this. It's quite a subtle green, this, isn't it? It's one of the moonlight. I think it was out of one of the, like the new Earth sort of sets that they created. Was that beginning of last year? If you don't want it sort of too bright green, it's a nice one to go for. There we are. And of course, you don't want to be blending gel pens. They're sort of quite monochromatic in terms of one layer, aren't they? So there we go. So there's sort of my green. You see that? I've got to go over that. You see it starts to leave little scratches. That's okay. Alright, let's bring in the red. I'm just going to bring in... Now, we have left a little bobble there, so we don't want to colour that in if possible. You see? Go around it. But that's okay if you go over it. You can always let it dry and use a white gel pen to go over the top. There we are. And on to the next one. This has got a bit of sparkle in it. So hopefully these berries will stand out, because these are the most expensive thing in the wreath. There's the holly and the berries. And this one. Okay. So because these are not too big, it's nice to colour and get something on them. Of course, you could even bring in your Nuvo drops and things like that. So don't think you've got to restrict it just to pens and colouring. You can bring in whatever you like. And, you can even add a bit of glitter if you want. Just to add a bit of kind of. I know there's the tile that I had. Well, the swap has got glitter around the edges. And that looks really nice as well. Just gives it that little bit of a neat frame to it. Okay, I think I'm gonna, you know, I've got some of these little dots lying around. I'm just gonna come in. I'm not gonna do them all. And just sort of put a little bit of red in those as well. So I've got a few more in places. So I'm not gonna fill them all. Because let's find the lid to that one. Okay, I'm gonna bring in a bit of gold. Here we go. I'm gonna bring it in, just sort of down the side here. I'm just gonna sort of, not gonna be completely a slave to those lines, but I'm just gonna add. There we go. Let's see, little dots of gold in there. So I'm not trying to do every other one. It's just sort of see how that works. Just gives it a little bit of metallic as you move it round. But you can see they're way too small to colour in, so I'm not going to go there with this. Unless you feel that you've drawn them a bit big. See, that one's a bit bigger, so I can perhaps do those. But no, it's not going to happen on these. They're a little bit too small. No. At least the postman knocked, I suppose. That's one good thing, isn't it? Didn't just leave it on the doorstep. Okay. Last one here. There we go. Alright, now I see these little bubbles we left. Just going to go in and might even add it. Oh, I didn't want to do that with that one. Let's just scrub that off. That one needs a bit of pencil. Oh, see, there we go. That one does though. And, just fill a few bubbles in there. Let's have a look. Oh, there's one there, look. Alright, let's have a look at it. Chris. Alright, just a little bit more pencil, I think. I'm just going to come on in the inside of that wreath design there. You see, I'm not being seriously particular, just nice light pressure, just adding a little bit in there. You see, just sort of in and around. Okay. And back in with the tortillon. And just going to soften it up a little bit. And I think those little zingers need a little bit too. See, we're just sort of giving it a bit of life. The fact that it's got a bit of shadow there gives it a bit more of a realism about it. Okay, you see, just sort of working around it there. Oh, that's great. They are nice pencils. I have added them to my website. They're a slightly different picture on the tin, but they're the same pencils. They work really well. Okay, so I think just to finish this, I'm just gonna come back in with my pen and just sort of go back over. You know, if we've got that original line, hopefully, you know, all the gel pen's dry now, so you're not going to have problems, but just going to put that back in. And of course I'm going to do the same around the outside. So this is where you'll notice if there's anything missing, because it'll sort of stand out. Alright, see like there. It's nice to come back and do these extra little bits afterwards. I think it's really important. Again, I'm going to draw in that line there too. You see, just sort of, let's just bring that ribbon back out. Now these are things that we drew first, but it's nice to give it a little bit more attention, isn't it? There we go. Of course, we don't do this with everything, we just do it with some of the main elements. Of course, this ribbon's so expensive, it needs that little bit of definition there. That just needs a little bit of softening. Let's have a look. Okay, so let's have a look. Oh, thank you, Sheila. It's quite subtle, isn't it? It's got a little bit of colour there, and of course it's got that, if I lift it again, it's got that little sort of hint of gold in places, but not too overdone. So I'm just going to sign that now. Okay, I'm going to sign it, yeah, I'll sign it this side, because there we go. So of course you've got the slot dies, you just literally use the die, put some slots in a card, shove this in, job done, isn't it? But I do have a dark tile that I said I was toying with at the beginning. So if I move that to one side down here. Now I've used exactly the same gel pens, but I've used a navy blue tile out of the botanicals and a white pen. Now look at that, what a difference that makes, isn't it? So whether you want to go quite subdued and traditional and leave it at that, or whether you actually want to go in with a white gel pen. And you can see there, look, I've used the gold pen, but I actually used it on the ribbon. So that sort of brings that out a little bit more. See, it's lovely, isn't it? And you've got a bit of glitz on the berries as well. So two options there, two different ways of doing it. And it depends, of course, on which one it does, doesn't it? Which one you want to, whether you like your neighbours really well or not so well, depends on what, or even go with a tiny tile, you know, if you need to. But yeah, love that one. I think that's really nice. And I'm glad I did it on here because you could see where I actually started with the rings and you can see how it's built up. Whereas on here, you know, perhaps would have struggled with the little bit of pencil and the construction lines there. But both equally as beautiful in their own way. So whichever you want to work to. I mean, I did actually toy here, look, as you can see, with one of the chocolate tiles. Look at the Earth collection. I did think, shall I? And that would look, you know, nice with a gold pen, maybe. So have a bit of a play with it and see what you think. But all right, that's it for today. That's, oh goodness me, we did the Advent and we've done this. So lots to be getting on with if you want to, or choose which ones you want to work on. And I will see you for Advent tile number 9 for, tomorrow at some point. Anna, it's blue. Here we go, second. There you go. I've got a black tile. There you go. There's the black. There you are. You can see it now, look. There it is. It's a dark blue. All right. Okay, so enjoy the rest of your day and I will speak to you tomorrow. Have fun. Bye.